Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Smoking Weed and Talking MMA. This is episode 26. My name is Jarrod. I'm here with my co-host, Paul.
What's up, guys?
We're coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. On today's episode, we are going to be talking all about Bellator 215, Bellator 216, UFC Phoenix, which was the company's debut on ESPN. We will also be having our Fighters Who Smoke segment, as well as the Weed of the Week, which is what we're going to get started with right now, my friends.
Smoke weed every day.
You just took a hit of some Miami Heat, but that's not why you're coughing a bit over there. We got some more of that delicious white cheese hash provided today by our friends at OMG THC, which is the only company, Paul, as you know, making hash here in the city of Las Vegas, possibly in the entire state of Nevada. Yeah. I could be wrong on that one. I know for certain it's the only place, only company making it here. If you're swooping down through Vegas as a tourist, or if you live here as a local, you got to get your hands on some old school hash. Just Google OMG THC. Check them out on Instagram. Their website's being built. And hey, real quick, we've also got a cool THC to CBD tincture today as well, provided by Experience Premium Cannabis, which we've tried a lot of their tinctures over the course of the past few months, Paul. I like them all. Today we've got a Breathe Easy tincture, which is formulated with a lot of essential oils that are supposed to help your system breathe a little bit better. But the way we're using it, honestly, is as a CBD boost to our marijuana smoking today. Now, if you don't know, folks...
Helps me, though, man. I'm always fucking stuffed up.
Yeah, you are a little stuffy here, but it's where we live, man. We've got the allergy seasons here in Vegas are like 24/7. It's always dry. Yeah. It's always windy.
It's dry as fuck, always windy.
But not only does it help with that, but I like using CBD tinctures as a boost to smoking weed. If you can get them on about a 1-to-1 ratio, it really increases the effects of the weed you're smoking. Yeah. If you go over a 1-to-1 ratio, though, it's actually going to be counter-effective and will negate the effects of THC, which a lot of people don't know that. But so if you stick it around 1-to-1 or even less, but just don't go overboard.
Yeah.
What do you think of that hash, man? Still as delicious. It's our second week in a row with OMG THC giving us this delicious hash.
Yeah, fuck with it.
It's one of my very favorites. I'm going to go ahead and take a puff off this bong here.
I like that Miami Heat also.
Yeah, that's a nice sativa, isn't it?
I like it. I feel like it goes well with that hash.
I think so, too. That's a nice flavor combo there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bud, too. I saw purple. And it's like a light green with a light purple as well, which is cool. I like that. I like pretty herb. Now, if you're listening to us right now and you're wondering where you might be able to find some of this stuff here we've got on our Weed of the Week, I'll tell you some of the dispensaries you can find. The OMG THC hash, you can find at Essence Dispensary. You can find at Pisos and at Blackjack. And the tincture you can also find at those three plus the Grove. Yeah. Now, I know by the time you're listening to this, if you're watching on YouTube or hearing it a little bit later from this weekend, they've probably expanded into further dispensaries after that. We got another bowl here loaded. What we like to do, folks, is a good way to smoke some hash is you can get like a little layer of weed in the bottom of your bowl, and then you get a nice little pancake of hash, then another layer of weed, then a little bit more hash. We sprinkled a little keef in there, too. Yeah. That's some good shit. Well, let's take a look here at some of these fights, man. What a busy weekend. Man, a lot of events.
All over the place.
Yeah, we had Bellator with the back-to-back doubleheader. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the big UFC card, which was on Sunday, which is unusual.
And then Invicta had an event on Saturday also.
Yeah, there was a lot of different things. And a lot of these events outside of the UFC were marred by some fouls.
Strange, yeah.
Intentional, or unintentional, excuse me. Fouls. We had an eye poke in that Invicta card. That was a nasty one. Did you see the pictures of that?
Well, yeah, dude, that was disgusting.
Her eye was bad.
It's fucked. Well, I mean, I didn't personally watch the fight, but I heard that Pearl was losing the fight anyways.
Did you? I didn't get a chance to watch it either. I saw some of the highlights.
They
took
it to the cards anyways, like that, and said it was strange.
Right.
I didn't know that was like you could do that, but they like stopped the fight there and then took it to the cards, and Pearl was down on the cards, so they gave like an actual win rather than like a DQ win. Never seen that before.
Yeah, you don't see that often. You see it a bit more
I
in
don't
boxing,
know,
but
yeah.
not in MMA. I don't know if that's happened off the top of my head. I can't think of another scenario like
But yeah,
that.
and then that same night we move over to Bellator, and then you
Yeah,
get Matt
Bellator,
Mitrione and
215.
Sergei Kharitonov, and he fucking kicks him in the nuts in the first 15 seconds.
Yeah, that was the main event.
I mean, it wasn't
heavyweight
it wasn't on purpose, but it was like, God damn it! And then he couldn't continue.
Yeah, that was brutal. I mean, that was the main event. Obviously, a heavyweight bout. A couple of contenders in their division there.
Dude, imagine a big ass motherfucker like that kicking you in the balls, though.
Yeah, Mitrione just hit him square in the nuts. Kharitonov fell over. He had to go out on a stretcher. Man. Like when fighters like this can't continue, that's bad enough. But then when you get kicked in the nuts so
in
hard,
the nuts so hard, you
they
have to
gotta
quit?
call the ambulance
Fuck, man.
that's waiting in the parking lot because
Yeah.
that's the way it is in all fights. There's ambulances outside and medics right there, and take you off in a stretcher.
You got kicked in the balls.
And as a fighter, that's what, he doesn't want to do that. Like
Fuck
he wants to tough
Yeah.
it up and fight again. And it's so bad. He's like, fuck that. I don't know. Stretcher time, bitches.
He really got kicked in the balls so hard.
That's. At least he didn't get his nuts ruptured. I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
for
I mean,
real. He's
not
lucky
even
he didn't.
joking. Like that's a big motherfucker kicking you in
Yeah.
the nuts. Matt
Fuck
Mitrione, former NFL player, humongous man. Was he 6'4", 260? And he's not muscular. He's just like
He's
naturally
fucking-
big like that.
He's a fucking ogre, dude.
Yeah. So they're talking. Mitrione was super apologetic. It was accidental. They might run that back.
Yeah,
I
it definitely
haven't
was
heard.
accidental. It was if Kharitonov didn't step forward, it would have landed right in the perfect place where it probably could have hurt him pretty bad. Obviously, considering he kicked him so hard.
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weren't you saying that he had to be admitted to the hospital again or something?
Yeah, actually, like the next morning, and this is public information, not trying to embarrass the guy, but yeah, the next morning he had to go back to the hospital because he was in so much pain in that area, and it turned out that fucking Mitrione had kicked his nuts so hard he busted a hemorrhoid out of his ass.
Jesus Christ,
I mean, seriously.
that's rough.
I don't know how that guy made it to the fights the next night and was sitting there. Like,
Yeah,
you're a
he's just
fucking
chilling.
warrior, man.
Well, he's one of those crazy old school guys, dude.
Right.
He was back from Pride and all that shit. So
Yeah.
he just doesn't give a fuck, probably.
I'm not going to miss the fights.
Yeah. Speaking of the next night's fights, we had Paul Daley and MVP put on
Yeah.
kind of a boring fight, to be honest.
That was a fight that's been so many years in the making between two dynamic strikers, British rivals.
To be honest, though, MVP brought it more than Daley did,
Yes.
on the feet and on the ground.
Undeniable. Who would have thought Daley? I mean, a lot of people probably didn't watch that are listening to this show. So they're both known for their striking.
Yeah.
And Daley's a bit of a knockout artist. MVP, Michael Venom Page, is like the new breed.
He has
younger
never made it out of
fighter.
the first round.
Yeah, he's 13-0 up till last night, whereas Daley's a veteran, fought in the UFC, fought all over, been in Pride a long time. He's got over 40 fights.
Yeah.
Knocks a lot of fools out.
Fought in the UFC
Yeah, and
and got kicked out.
got kicked out. And
Well, because another thing you have to say about him, though, is he has been known to be a hothead, man.
he is a hothead at times, for sure.
So that's really what got him kicked out of the UFC, dude. What he did was so blatant, dude. That was ridiculous. You can't even deny that.
Oh, no.
What he did was so flagrant in so many ways. For people who don't know, Paul Daley fought, was it Koscheck?
Yes.
He was fighting Koscheck,
Josh
and he
Koscheck,
just,
yes.
Koscheck just completely shut him down and really frustrated him the whole fight. So Koscheck kind of just eases to a decision win, and after the bell rings, after Koscheck turns his back, Paul Daley follows him and hits him with a two-piece like behind the head. It was pretty rough. And the was it John McCarthy or it was either McCarthy or Herb Dean tackled him right. He's like, "Whoa, no! What the hell are you doing?"
One of those two guys. I'm not sure who either, but yeah.
It was
And then he got permanently banned from the UFC.
literally
after that.
after the fight, not like there was no hearing or anything. Dana White just jumped on the mic after at the press conference, like, "Nah, he's cut, he's done,
Yeah,
he's
that's
never
it.
fighting here again."
He was pissed.
I wonder if that still holds up to this day, though. That was what, 2009, maybe.
He's never shown any interest in letting Paul Daley come back to the UFC, which is funny because people have done worse at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You know,
That's what I'm saying.
At this
Based on
point.
things that have happened,
yeah.
do you think that they've ever thought about it? or had any contact with each other.
Maybe if he would have won tonight, maybe if he would have fought. I don't know what kind of contract he's under at Bellator. But.
Man, he's hating on Bellator heavy. He comes out after and says that Bellator put one over on him.
Yeah, well, let's circle back to the fight. We're expecting this great striking match for the ages.
Yeah.
Paul Daley talked all this shit before the fight.
He also talked about possibly putting a no takedown clause.
Yeah, he publicly put out, let's do a no takedown clause in the contract. And why that's relevant, folks, is because he came out and then ran around the first round, didn't throw any punches, and then proceeded to show his rather lame D1 skills.
Yeah. Not even. He was like fucking high school wrestler.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic. Yeah, he's not known for wrestling, and that's why it was not good wrestling. But he kept trying to take him down.
He just probably figured he was like, dude, John Fitch did this shit to me. I bet it works on other people too. And it didn't work.
Do you think he made that adjustment mid-fight? Like he came out there and was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna go for takedowns," or do you think he was trolling the whole time?
Well, let's look at it round by round. In the first round, even if you look at it, MVP was still pushed forward and
MVP walked down. He threw
although they both
3 or
were
4
fast
kicks and a couple punches.
Yeah, although they both were fast, you could see it on the feet that if this stayed on the feet, Michael Venom Page was going to be faster to him at every point of the fight.
Yeah,
you could just see it just based on how they were moving and how much more of a flow he was in rather than Daley, who was kind of just like shelled up, like trying not to get hit.
I've never seen Daley run like that. Like he literally just stayed on the outside and circled the cage for 5 minutes.
And then he got hit with that big knee in the fourth or the fifth?
Flying knee.
That knee hurt him, man.
Dude, those knees.
Was that the third? As the third ended, I think.
That's the same thing he cracked Cyborg's head open with.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Daley.
No, I was talking about MVP, that flying knee.
Yeah.
When he.
Well, here's the thing, though. He falls in love with that knee a little too much because after he hit that, he threw 2 like real ones that he could have took advantage with his hands and probably finished the fight. But then he tried to hit him with like 3 more flying knees in a row. It's like, hey, man, fucking finish the fight. Stop trying to be like. There's a point when flashy is just turns into stupidity, and that's kind of where he turned into stupidity. Hit him with a big knee. He could have hit him with a real strong jab and a nice either overhand or like a straight and put him down because he was dazed after he hit him with that knee. And those uppercuts. He went away from those uppercuts and that up elbow because he was like covering up, but he was leaving that right down the middle was open all day. That's why he hit him with the knee. You know,
wasn't the greatest fight. It was a bit of a letdown.
Not. Yeah,
but MVP gets the win. It was a legit.
Okay,
win.
So then also, why did he not change his whole outlook after the fucking 4th round either? Because then we saw him on getting taken down by MVP and getting worked. Why the fuck didn't he go out there and try to strike in the 5th? Like, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, that's a good question.
What are you doing? Like, you were not up in any way. Like, he's talking about, oh, I got put over. Like, what? No, dude.
Yeah, then he issues a statement, if folks haven't heard, where he basically says that it was a fixed fight, that Bellator, in essence, bought off the judges to protect their investment in the young phenom.
Like, I'd understand. You could say that if it was maybe like a split decision. But when it's a unanimous, all 3 call it 3-2, you can't say, like...
How can you give that first round to Paul Daley?
Yeah.
How is it? He didn't throw a single strike.
And then he got hit.
Not that MVP was lighting him up or anything.
But
he literally threw like 6 and landed maybe 2 kicks, if I remember right. It wasn't much, but he was walking forward and he was attempting to throw shit, and the other guy was circling the cage.
People were calling it fucking Ngannou versus Lewis too.
Yeah, it was. It was looking like that, which is crazy. So crazy. I was so hyped up. I was so excited for that fight. Yeah. But I'm glad to see MVP get the win.
Dude, but in all honesty, someone's going the fuck down in the next fight.
Yeah, because he earns the match with Douglas Lima next in the tournament. Who was there? I like their. Lima came into the cage. They're very respectful towards each other, which is different than the Daley fight with MVP. Obviously, that was cool. I think that's gonna be a hell of a fight, man. Lima's a beast.
Here's the question: do you think Lima will use his wrestling that he's worked so hard on to take Daley out, MVP out, or do you think he's willing to stand with him and see what he can do? Because Douglas Lima is also terrific stand-up fighter.
Yeah, Douglas Lima's a beast.
He's
man.
got
no
some
joke.
of the nastiest leg kicks in the MMA world.
Yeah, he's
and that's what brings up the other question too: is MVP going to be able to stand in front of him in that karate style stance and have that front leg out? I do not think so. Lima's going to come after that leg, man.
yeah, that's a tough fight. That's a tough fight for.
But
Michael
then
Venom
that brings
Page.
there's just I know how Michael Venom Page works though, man. I feel like I don't know. I don't think he's gonna get into range with him ever. Like I think he's gonna
With
just
Lima?
pop in and out. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's his best chance, and I think Lima's gonna end up taking him down probably.
probably. They don't have a date for that one yet, do we?
Yeah, they do. May 17th,
May 17th.
I believe so.
That's not too far
They
away.
said
That's
that
not
in
bad.
yeah, they said that in the octagon. So what? Rory and Fitch still got to fight.
Mm-hmm.
When's that one? In a
It's
month
coming
or
up here
so? think it's in
shortly.
April.
No, it's a little bit further away.
Is it in April?
They're giving Rory a little bit of time. It seems they made that.
Well,
the
I would
last
hope
one.
so, man, because he got fucking beat down by Gegard, and you don't recover very well from beat downs like that.
No, he needs the time.
He didn't get TKO'd. He got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, although he did get TKO'd, the amount of damage he took to achieve a TKO was far beyond if he would have got flash
It'd have
knocked
been
out.
easier on him if he just got slept. Exactly.
He got fucked up. And that nose, man. That nose is just not held up over the years.
No, that's so tough, man. He might have to look at another surgery or something
I think he did.
after this one.
Well, no, I don't think
I know he had a
don't
big
know.
surgery when he first came into
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Bellator. Yeah, that's why
He took a lot of time off.
his debut was delayed for like a year because he was
But then
healing his nose.
He's had another fucking war right after that. Though.
Oh, I know,
He had a war
man.
with Douglas Lima, and Douglas Lima, in a lot of people's eyes, won that fight.
Douglas Lima is so legit. I wish he was in the UFC.
Oh, I do too.
Man.
How old is he? He's got to be like, what, 29, 30?
Yeah, he's right in there.
Yeah. He's a fucking world beater. I think he could give Tyron Woodley some serious problems.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I think so. Just because he strikes with so much intent, man. Like when he goes out there, he's gonna wear you down, but he's gonna wear you down with hard fucking shots the whole time. Like that Koreshkov performance that he put on was perfect.
Oh man, it sure was.
It's perfect. Everyone was hating on it, but that was exactly what
Oh,
you got
that
to
was-
do to beat a
yeah,
guy like that.
Absolutely.
He knows what it takes to get the job done. And I think that's where he kind of has the upper hand here against MVP.
I lean towards Lima in that fight too. If
Yeah.
I had to pick it today, I would say Douglas Lima's gonna.
I think
Fuck
Lima
him
has a
up.
really big chance of winning this whole
I
tournament.
think he does too.
I don't
he's
think
really
Roy's
good.
the same fighter, man. After that getting beat up by
That
Gegard like
Gegard
that.
fight was such a mistake. I wish he hadn't done it
Yeah.
because that's the last thing he needed in his career was another brutal.
Well, and you know,
brutal
John Fitch
fight.
is going to be game too, so that's not going to probably be a very easy fight. And then who's he got after that?
I'll see how it plays out in the next.
No, I
bracket.
think he already has somebody.
Oh, is there somebody
waiting.
waiting for that fight? I don't know. We watched
Gracie's
so much.
waiting.
Oh yeah, Neiman Gracie.
Neiman Gracie's
coming off his
waiting.
victory over
Yeah.
Ed Ruth.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
waiting in the wings, so we'll see. Because he's the last fight of the first round.
Yeah,
They say this is going to end in, like, September.
they're putting them out fairly quick. I like these. I wish the UFC would do.
Well,
shit
you know
like
what it
this.
is, though? You got to think
Actually, I
of it.
don't. I like that
But no,
Bellator's
listen-
doing it. It
listen to this,
differentiates.
though. You got to think about it this way. I was thinking of it this way the other day, too. You know how we were always talking about, God damn it, why don't they have rankings? They don't need rankings when they have a tournament because everyone's going to fight everyone anyways now. And
True
you
enough.
still get all the matchups you want, but you still get some kind of ranking system where everyone gets a chance to fight for the title, you know? And if no one can complain, you know what I'm saying? No one can sit there and be like, they just don't like me, they're holding me back. Like, nah, dude, you fought in the tournament, you lost, so you're not
Yeah.
champion, you know?
You think they're going to keep these up?
Yeah, they said that they're announcing a featherweight one in I believe next year. They said they're going to do one a year.
Because you know that's how.
will be in that.
If people listening might not know, if you're not like a hardcore MMA fan, but when Bellator first started, it was a pure tournament structure under the prior leadership of Bjorn Rebney. That's all they did, and then Coker came in and mixed it up, and now he's like, you know, they did those big tentpole events where he got eyes on the product.
Yep.
They did the Kimbo slices and the Dada 5000 craziness. They did the fucking some other matchups like that.
Yep.
And they built up some stars now. And now he's bringing in this tournament. Only he's being smart enough not to really call it a tournament. Like they called it the Bellator tournament. Now he's calling it the Grand Prix in the division. Same thing, but I think the name matters. Like
it gives people nostalgia too, because they think about the Pride Grand Prix.
Exactly.
They're like, "Oh, Grand Prix! I remember how you
yeah,
guys
the hardcore fans
Prix.
are like, "Oh shit, yeah."
Same thing he did with Strikeforce. He did the same thing, and those are all great. Those birthed some of the best stars in MMA right now. Daniel Cormier became Daniel Cormier through the Strikeforce Grand Prix.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He would have never fought Josh Barnett and fucked him up, and everyone like that fight made everybody know his name. When he fucked Josh Barnett up like that,
yeah, no one was expecting
like, what
that.
the fuck? Because remember, Josh Barnett was kind of the dark horse favorite to win that tournament.
Sure was.
But then you got to think about it too. DC was an alternate.
Yeah, because Bigfoot went out.
Yeah, fucking alternate wins the tournament. See, that's what's cool about these kind of things, because then when you do have alternates, it creates a window for younger guys to possibly get a chance to fight in these bigger stages also.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that shit. That's
Dude,
cool.
but they're smart to do one at featherweight now, because if you have all these guys that you have now that, remember we were talking about a couple episodes before, that's kind of a gridlock right there. You do a featherweight tournament, all those guys fight, and no one, everyone knows where they stand after that.
For sure.
There's no need for rankings, because everyone knows where the fuck they are.
I'm digging it. Every episode of Bellator that I watch, every event, I mean, I find myself liking it more and more, especially here lately. Like I like the desk team, I like the commentary team.
If they could just get some guys out there, just like name wise, like they've got their few, but they're just got a lot of their cards aren't being stacked with those big names.
No, they need to keep tweaking it.
Yeah.
I also like they've added in these, or maybe they've been doing it all the time. I don't really remember them except these recent events. But the like these pre-fight locker room interviews.
Yeah.
I like those.
They're all right.
It's not my favorite thing, but it's a mix. It's different than what the UFC's doing.
It's kind of like what boxing does that too.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it. I'm digging Bellator. I hope they keep.
Yeah, they're definitely doing. They're doing it different, but they're doing it in their own way. And I think like what's cool about it is now, even though UFC is still the predominant organization across mixed martial arts, we're seeing places like Bellator getting a lot of these big names rising. ONE FC.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like it's changing the game, because now we're talking if you really want to go towards more of a union, you're going to be able to do this soon, because now all these bigger organizations are paying what the UFC are paying, and a lot of them are paying more, Yeah,
when you add in the fact that these guys can get sponsors again, and they don't have to disclose what their sponsors are paying.
Although, did you see fucking Ryan Bader's salary for the tournament, dude?
No, I didn't see it.
He only made $250,000 for winning that tournament.
I believe he gets pay-per-view points. Oh, no, what am I saying? They don't have pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
God, I'm so used to that line of thought. That is pretty low. I hope he gets
I don't know what he gets. I don't know what his outside of like sponsorships, all that shit. And I don't know what he gets. Maybe sometimes
I don't know if they do some type of
they
locker
don't
room
necessarily.
bonus. Yeah.
I don't know if they. A lot of times they don't disclose other bonuses that they give to their fighters, and that's okay. But yeah, on paper it looked like he didn't get paid that much.
Yeah, that's not that much, but I would imagine that he's got to have some decent sponsors. I don't recall from that fight.
Damn, that sucks though, because now he's like, he got 3 belts.
He got 3
that was his crowning
belts,
moment,
yeah.
dude. He should have got paid fat as fuck. He should have got at least $1 million.
You got to figure his next fight, he's got to restructure
Damn,
that
what the fuck, 50
right?
Cent? Throwing it on the welterweights?
Yeah,
show the heavyweight some love, bro.
Show the heavyweight king some love for sure, man.
It's funny, 50 Cent's always coming in after these fights now with the fucking bottle.
I know, right?
So, there you go, bro.
I like Connor's marketing better
50
when it comes to the alcohol.
50 Cent's fucking crazy, man.
He is crazy. I heard some people doubting he's going to give $1 million to the winner. I'm like, could you doubt that? Like they're saying it all the fucking time.
Fuck. What if he didn't? That would be a media frenzy.
Dude, I bet it's not coming from him. It's probably coming from that alcohol company.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's why he's always ta-da with the bottle,
Yep,
and then that's how he pays for the advertising is giving the fucking $1 million to the winner.
Yeah,
so that's my guess.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Right.
Well, think that wraps up Bellator.
Yeah,
for
there
this
were a lot of
weekend.
fights, but we can't talk about them all. There's just too much,
too much.
MMA. So
Too much.
let's move on to this UFC on ESPN 1.
Man, there's not a single fighter on that card that should feel bad for losing any of those
That was a
fights. All those
marvelous
fights
card,
had
wasn't
real
it?
fucking good
Man,
fights.
from the
bottom
ESPN
up.
Plus prelims
Yeah.
all the way up to, I guess,
Dude, all the way through. All the way through,
I mean,
honestly.
I'm trying to think of one that
like,
sucked.
name a fight that sucked. There really was no fights that sucked on that card.
That was quality evening. Well,
That was sick.
what do you think of, what was your favorite? Do you have a favorite fight yet of the evening?
All right, let's do favorite fight and favorite fighter of the evening. My favorite fighter of the evening was Francis Ngannou because I feel like he's finally vindicated and can get that, that just kind of get that chip off his shoulder. Although he shouldn't, he should. But at the same time, it's like he came up and fucking showed up in a big fight, and that's always been the question behind him after
Big
what happened
fight.
last year. Big win for him, huge win. But my favorite fight of the card was Luque versus fucking Barberena. That was a fucking war, dude.
Wasn't that?
That was a
fight?
war.
Man.
Dude, what the fuck does Barberena got behind that fucking beard, dude? Because he's just got a piece of iron there, dude.
This is a 170
Like,
pound contest. Is
Oh.
Brian Barberena, his claim to fame really up to this point has been
Beat
beating
Sage.
Sage Northcutt. It was supposed to be Sage's shining moment of welterweight, and Barberena
Yeah.
beat him down. And then, was it Vicente Luque?
Yeah,
Is
he's
that how you say it?
he's
He's
9-1 in the UFC.
man,
he's
he's a
won
beast.
8 straight, man.
That was a back and forth war, people. If you missed out on it, that could be a contender for fight of the year.
100%.
Brian Barber, and my biggest impression, aside from Luque being a badass, is Barberena. Like, he didn't lose any shine.
No, not at
losing
all.
That fight. Like,
Not
I
at
actually
all.
like that dude more after that
Yeah.
fight. Now I'm like, Jesus, man.
Well, you know what it is? At the end of the day, I don't care where you're ranked or what your fucking record is, as long as you put on a fucking
Yeah, you
good
get out there
fight,
and
man.
fucking fight.
If you
That
get out
dude-
there and put on fight of the night, I don't give a shit what your record is, bro.
Even the commentators, at one point, Dominic Cruz was like, Luque should just stop hitting him in the head because it's not doing any good.
He's
he
like,
should
just hit
switch
him in
to the body.
Yeah. It's not-
These headshots are not going to stop this man.
Dude, but then also you gotta give it to Luque though for changing, for making in the ring fucking change ups, man. Because
Yeah,
then
no, absolutely.
He went straight from the big hooks that weren't really putting him down to the elbows, and the elbows are what
Elbows, yeah.
fucking was killing him, man. Every time he lit him up, it was with elbows.
Then he finally tenderized him enough through 3 rounds
He almost
to put him
tapped
away
him
at
twice
the end.
in that first round, man.
Yeah.
He almost tapped him twice.
That was a crazy sequence
Was that the
in
second
that
round or
first
the
round,
first?
man.
Yeah.
There was that sequence in the first round.
Dude, it
where-
was weird though. Like he knocked
was
him
so
down,
back
and
and
then, like
forth,
he laid
yeah.
down and was just like, "Come on," and then he just,
Yeah, like he went from it
He
looked like
like-
Barberena had got the KO, possibly
like,
going to hammer fist
damn.
him out, and then all of a sudden
and then
he
he
was
just like,
wrapped
and then
right
had
up
him
in the
fucking
sub.
rear naked choke, and then
What
he
a
darced
fight.
him. Also, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Crazy fight, man.
Yeah,
Crazy fight.
great fight.
That shit
But
was-
then he gets a KO and for
yeah, he
late.
puts him
in the
out
last
in
10 seconds, I wanna
yeah,
say.
some vicious knees.
That was rough. No
was
one
rough.
should. Once again, we talked about this. They gotta stop fucking interviewing the losers, though. Although that was a great fight and a good war. I guess you want to hear about it, but stop, man.
Dude,
they
yeah,
lost.
we were saying that during that fight. We were texting that
Because that was a fucking brain buster.
for
Like,
real. You can't. You
although he was there in the interview, I'll
yeah, he
give him
didn't
that.
embarrass himself or anything,
Yeah.
but you can't keep
It's
doing
still like,
this.
stop it with the interviewing of the.
I
of
guess
the people who lost.
Only Rogan is following that
Yeah,
policy, which is a shame.
yeah.
Because Cain, I mean, my favorite fight was Ngannou versus Cain. Despite it only being 23 seconds, I found that
It's
very
like 35.
Not that I'm happy something happened to Cain's knee. That's not what I mean. We
Yeah,
just
but at
we
the
just
same
don't know
time,
the
he got
details on
dropped.
that. But let's dive into that. That was your Ngannou was your favorite fighter, and this is my favorite fight. And when it happened and shortly afterward, there was what is now to me a very mild bit of controversy because we have video evidence at this point. It's really undisputable. But Cain himself was, I mean, he was a little delusional. It happens. You just got knocked silly. But
Sorry, he didn't get punched.
he's saying he didn't get touched and that it was his knee blew out and that's why he lost. Is that no one touched him? He just fell and screamed and the ref saved him and was a freak accident, and that's not what
Well, you
happened.
got to think about it this way too. So that uppercut landed, then his knee fucks up, and then on the ground when he's face down, he gets hit with 2 fucking bombs and didn't move. And then the ref like picked him up and woke him up. Like,
There's
not
a lot
woke him up, but like he was up. But I'm saying like he picked him up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was only 23 seconds, but I mean, when you slow it down and you look at that, I mean, he was diving in for the takedown, and Ngannou got the double underhooks, shifted his weight, created a little space, hit that fucking uppercut. And I mean, it's clear when you slow it down, like you just said, that punch hits hard as fuck.
Like you see his chin
neck
just
snaps, his chin goes silly, and then his knee buckles.
That's what people don't understand too. Is like when it's a flash knockout, yes, but it's still a knockout. Like when your neck gets fucking sent the opposite direction, you go out for a second. Like
people who are fans of the fighter who gets knocked out often want to say it was a
and
flash
also
knockout, like that somehow discredits it
here's
in
the
some
thing
way.
too.
Like
It also sucked that freaking Dominic Cruz is over here talking. Oh, he hurt his knee.
Yeah, Dominic Cruz was sitting there saying
justice
in the booth that his knee's blown, he blew his knee. Like we don't know that happened yet. At least I don't know if we have a doctor's information on that. And B, like it's clear in the replay that's not what happened. It just creates this narrative that's not true.
Yeah.
But luckily in today's age, there's plenty of video. Like y'all can look it up for yourself, listen, and there is clear slow motion video of Cain getting knocked silly by a calculated punch from Ngannou, a perfect punch.
Yeah.
Designed to take somebody out that's coming in for a takedown. Like, let's be honest, dude. Ngannou the resurgence is real. I kind of questioned it, bro. You didn't. You seemed to be on board after the Curtis Blades fight, but I had questions. I was like, I don't know, dude. No, you're right, dude. He's back. He's legit as fuck. He's got the confidence again. He's got that confidence. They've been working on dealing with fucking wrestlers, and now he's knocked out back-to-back badass wrestlers in Curtis Blades and Cain Velasquez.
Here's the deal. Fuck it, dude. You want that title fight back, Stipe? Come get it, dog. Come get it. They can fight like 2 months from now. Ngannou got out of there, not touched at all.
What, Ngannou versus Stipe again?
Yeah, they'd have to do that, and then the winner fights DC.
If they were going to make Ngannou Stipe take another fight, I would rather see Ngannou get the shot.
I think Stipe versus Ngannou too is a different fight.
I don't know. I think Stipe's got his number.
I don't think so.
Stipe doesn't get enough credit on that.
I also think that Stipe tends to be a little reckless, and Francis could possibly catch him.
Stipe took some shots in there.
Remember, because he had him on Queer Street for a second, and then he just got it together real quick.
But let's shift it back to last night. So, yeah, Francis Ngannou. That was my favorite fight. You said your favorite fighter was Ngannou. Your favorite fight was, that was Barao versus Luke Sanders is mine.
Sanders is rough.
I love the ending to that because to me that was like.
You like Homer Simpson him, dude.
Dude, he fucking at the end of that KO, he had his left hand just choking his fucking neck of Barao, and then his right hand just pummeling his fucking face into the canvas.
I feel bad for Barao. I think this is his last fight.
I felt bad for him too, but on the flip side, I like that kind of shit in fighting.
Oh yeah,
that was
savage.
That was savagery. That reminded me of like Tank Abbott back in the day when he would just try to murder choke people. You know what I mean by murder choke? I mean just straight up
like the Homer Simpson.
Yeah, like he's got him around the neck. You got your thumbs on the Adam's apple. You're clenched, and you're just trying to fucking kill somebody.
The murder.
He would do the murder choke, and he would do the smother all the time. He would take those big hands and pinch your nose and try to smother your fucking face and just kill you in the octagon. It was just savagery, and I was like, you don't see that too often. And the way he was,
their backs.
The way he was holding Barao's neck, and then just pounding him. I was like, God damn, that's what reminds me of that old school savagery.
Under tough times, dude. He's
dude,
lost
he can't make
4
weight.
Straight, has missed weight 3 straight.
2-7 in his last 9. Can't make weight. Looks like a deer in the headlights when he's on a scale and misses weight. He gets this look of fucking bewilderment, and you're like,
fuck, man. What?
Like you weren't just on a scale fucking 30 seconds going back. Don't play like you had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, stop, motherfucker.
Just stop fighting at fucking bantamweight.
And stop fighting a bantamweight.
Like, fuck. Did he try to move up to featherweight though? Or he lost. I want to say.
Yeah, Jeremy Stevens
Jeremy
fucked him up.
Stevens fucked
And then he was
him
like
up, yep.
back down to
It's
bantamweight.
like fuck that.
Or, you know, and now
I
Luke
think-
Sanders.
I
Like
think
Luke
he's
Sanders'
headed-
adjustment was on point because that first round was pretty close, man.
I think he's headed to PFL.
You think so?
Or
Well, he
maybe
did all right in the
Bellator.
first round, but the thing was Sanders went back and his corner told him exactly what to do. He made the
Yeah.
adjustment and fucking knocked him
Knocked him
silly.
Fucking.
Silly. I like Sanders, man. I like
He
that
knocked
kid.
him out of the UFC. All right.
He should be.
He's gone.
He's
There's
2-7 and
There's
all
no
those weight.
way, dude.
What a fall, man! Remember when Dana was saying he was the pound for pound best?
Remember when they were gonna do
before the
freaking
Dillashaw
hit?
fight?
Remember they were gonna do him and what the fuck, Dominic Cruz, and they
Oh,
were gonna do
yeah.
the super fight before it was Dominic Cruz and DJ also. Remember Dominic Cruz was going after all those super fights. He fought DJ and then he wanted to fight Barao after because Barao. Yeah,
I don't
really.
want to see him in the UFC anymore
I don't
either.
think so. I think he's gone, dude.
He needs to be gone. I don't have any sympathy for people who consistently miss weight anymore. I'm like, dude,
Dude,
you're at the
imagine how
highest
much
level of
money
the
he's
sport,
probably
man.
lost
Fuck
out
off.
on, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's probably fucking. He keeps just getting like 30% took off the top, 40% took off the top. Like Jesus, dude, don't just make weight, you fuck.
And that's a good bowl. Fucking Miami Heat with the white cheese hash, man. That's so good. White widow crossed with cheese.
Yeah, dude, that was just stupid of him though.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. But those were my two, man. And there was a lot. But, dude, it's hard to pick. Honestly, I could have picked any fight.
Another
Really.
great fight though we didn't talk about was that Paul Velder versus James Vick fight.
Dude, yeah, let's jump right into the co-main event. 155-pound fight. Paul Felder versus the incredibly tall Vic. I still don't understand how Vic
I don't
is
think
fighting at
he's very
155.
technically sound. I'm just gonna come out and say it right away. I don't think he's very technically sound. He's got great power, and he's got great size.
You're talking
that
about Vic?
Yeah, that he uses to his advantage. But he comes out there with his chin up. He fucking.
I don't understand how Lloyd Irvin, his coach, can't get him to
Like,
tuck his chin.
What is he doing?
I've met Lloyd. I know Lloyd from the business world. Lloyd and I were in business a long time ago in a very similar thing together. Not partners, but worked together as in a marketing thing. And he's a good coach, man. He's got a lot of high level fighters. He's great jiu-jitsu. And tucking your chin is so basic,
Yeah.
especially when you're 6'4" and you're in the 155-pound weight division. Everybody's shorter than you, so when
Dude,
your chin
his
is
leg
up,
got fucking
people
tore
can see
up
it.
by Felder too.
yeah.
Felder came in
Dude,
there.
Felder kicked him so bad. Felder's leg was fucked up afterward.
Felder's a fucking savage, dude.
the Irish
He's the most
Dragon.
underrated lightweight in the division.
I agree.
100%.
The Irish Dragon.
The
is
fact that
without a
he is
doubt.
not
Yeah.
ranked is bullshit. It's
better
only
be
because
after
he
this.
moved up to welterweight and fought a fight.
Yeah,
Like, get the fuck out of here.
yeah, he's legit as fuck.
He's legit.
I like that guy. He's the
He's
real
talking
deal.
about fighting Gaethje next. That'd be a fucking
Oh,
great
man.
fight. Oh my
Man.
god, that'd be a great fight. Or Edson Barboza would also be a great fight.
Yeah.
That's a good fucking fight coming up as well.
What is that? Barboza versus.
Barboza versus Gaethje.
I forgot
That's in a
about
month
that
from,
fight.
or 2 months from now. I want to
Is
say.
it? Man,
That's
I
a
think Gaethje's
great
gonna
fucking
fuck
fight.
him up. Ooh.
Yeah, Barboza's not great with.
Barboza's on a bit of a
fighters.
downswing. I like the kid, but
Well, he just won his last fight.
yeah, but I guess downswing is the
He
wrong word.
fucked that
Plateau. I
Nah,
think he's
dude,
on
I
a
don't know.
plateau.
He
That's-
fucked. He. I
that's
don't know.
what I mean.
Maybe it was too much too soon, but he fucked that fool up.
In his last fight, he did look pretty sporty, but I don't
What's
think
that
he stands a
Australian guy's
chance
name?
against fucking Gaethje.
Who'd he beat? I forgot his name.
I can't recall it right this second either.
He fights with Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, dude,
Whatever.
that's a good
Keep it
fight.
moving.
Yeah, Gaethje him's a good fight, but there's others, man. What about Alex Caceres versus Kron Gracie of the famed Gracie family?
What
partner
more can you
of
say?
Nate Diaz.
Dude, he's a fucking
Only 4-0,
python, dude.
came in like a python, latched on to Caceres. A very favorable matchup for Gracie. Let's be honest here.
His hip placement's legit. You see how he just like those slow movements. They were like not slow, but it was just like casually like not take. He was just taking his time in there, man. He was just like making sure he was setting him up with his hips, set up that body triangle, and then just took the neck. And Caceres almost was willing to go out. He was like, "Fuck this, I'm not tapping."
I thought he was gonna
then he's like,
pass
"Fuck."
out, and then he finally tapped.
Yeah.
I know that fight meant a lot to Alex. I don't know if you watched.
He was
any of the lead
aggressive.
up
Don't
to
get me
that.
wrong. He came out there and tried to push the pace, but Gracie just didn't give a fuck. And he honestly showed a little bit of power in his hands, man, because he was throwing bombs to start the fight. He was just like, because like they were talking about in the broadcast, when you're not afraid of somebody taking you down, you're willing to just throw a lot behind your strikes. You know what I'm saying? Just because you can sit down on your punches and not worry about what's coming back. Which, man, he could be trouble for some guys at 45.
Absolutely.
I already told you my dream matchup, man, is him and Brian Ortega.
Yeah, that'd be a
Imagine
sick
the
fight.
Gracie versus the Gracie student.
He's the first Gracie to get a UFC win since
Yeah,
UFC
since-
4.
Was it 94?
Yeah,
That's rough.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
When
but you
think
gotta
about
think.
that
You gotta
family.
think. Not really though, because all the other ones, like that have fought in the UFC since then, were all like older one-offs. Like,
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
like
Did you
when
see,
BJ fought the one who fought.
Oh
Sakura.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Hickson.
No,
No, not Hickson.
not Hickson. Hickson was never defeated in MMA.
I know.
11-0.
Oh, there's too many of them. I can't remember.
Yeah,
We're high
it's
right now,
rough.
smoking weed, trying to remember
Yeah,
Gracie names out of
yeah, but
the several, like
Yeah, for
11.
there was one tie. And that was when Hoist came back, right? He tied, I want to say.
When he fought, he got smoked by Matt Hughes.
I remember that.
Yeesh.
Talking before that, I think like earlier. I don't remember. Let's keep moving.
But man, even Connor was really complimentary with his tweet. Did you read that? He
Yeah.
was praising him not
Well,
only for
it's
being
true,
in
though,
the Gracie
man. Like,
family,
literally.
but as a partner in Nate Diaz as well.
Yeah. Nate Diaz, dude, was cracking me up last
Nate
night.
Diaz looked pissed. He was
He
mean
was
mugging
cracking
before that
me
fight.
up. He was fucking mean mugging Alex Caceres like he was about to jump in there and knock his ass out. Dude. Nate's looking a little thick these days, though.
Telling you, Nate is bigger than Nick these days.
I sent you that video on Instagram, that interview with Megan O'Leary.
Yep.
Nate walks up on Dana White. He's like, "Oh, what's up, Nick?" He's like, "Hey, how are you, man?" He's
Megan
like,
asks
"Good."
if he's fighting.
He's like, "You think Nate's gonna fight soon?" He's like, "Nope."
Nope. Nate says, "We're coming." Dana White says, in about a half a second thought.
Yeah,
on that.
nope.
That was pretty funny. That was definitely pretty funny.
But this kid's got a serious fucking future in this sport.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really
He's not
excited
even a
to
kid
see
anymore.
who.
He's kind of a older
No, he's a grown man. He's not a youngster, but looking fucking sharp, looking like trouble. I wonder who they're going to match him up with next. What about that Aljamain
Think he gets
Sterling?
somebody? Hold on. You think he gets somebody ranked next? Think he's that good?
Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of.
Featherweight.
I doubt it. They give him.
Featherweight's
they
kind
give
of
him
a
somebody
shallow
more of
pool,
a
though.
ground game than Alex Caceres, though.
Featherweight's a little shallow these days.
I mean, Caceres, as fun of a fighter as he is, he's known exclusively as a stand-up fighter. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of tailor-made to get.
Who should they? I don't know.
I don't know. It's too big of a. I mean, 600 fighters. I don't know.
See Ben Askren talking shit about it?
No, I miss that.
He was like, of course, give him a striker, but the 7 of the, or was it 8 of the 9 UFC champions right now are wrestlers. So,
Well, he's 4-0
Couldn't get
in
some.
mixed martial arts.
well, no, he was saying because I guess a lot of people in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community were coming out saying like that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like, you know what
like
I'm talking
better
about?
than wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, better than everything in the UFC.
Yeah. They've always made.
Which is, I mean, I get it. Like
that was the point of the
was
first
birth
tournament.
of the UFC, but if you look at the evolved UFC and the best version of the UFC, wrestling has taken over the game.
Yeah, it's not about jiu-jitsu anymore at all. It's all about that wrestling. You can't deny that. Jiu-jitsu's not.
Because if you have great wrestling, you can cancel out someone's jiu-jitsu in a lot of cases. I understand there's also crazy leg locks and shit people can't be ready for and all that. I understand
sure.
that. But I'm talking if someone has traditional jiu-jitsu and someone has high level or Olympic wrestling, it's going to be pretty tough to implement your skills.
For sure. Well, what'd you think about that bantamweight fight with Aljamain Sterling
Dude, Aljo looked
versus
great.
Jimmy Rivera? Man.
Aljo looked great and he didn't even take him down.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought he looked fucking sharp. The only thing that he was doing that I didn't really like was going for those early takedowns, like because Jimmy Rivera's so short. He's like 5'4".
He's got some savage kicks, dude.
Yeah, he does. That was a good fight. Aljo looked good. He gets the win there.
He fucked him up too. Like
Yeah,
it was
a
not
dominant
close,
win.
man.
No,
it was not close at all. That puts Aljo right back in the fucking mix, man. He was.
That's exactly what he needed right there.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Rivera falling on tough fucking times now. Though he was
Mm-hmm.
he was a #1 contender in his last fight. Now he's probably finding himself in the lower levels of the top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Because
gonna need to
Aljo
win.
was 7, he was what, 4 or 5. So I think that probably moves Aljo up to 4 or 5 after the Cody Garbrandt Pedro Munoz fight.
Mm-hmm.
Will probably be either. I think he gets the winner of that one. Honestly, that's what he called for. That makes sense because if Marlon wants a title shot and he's gonna hold out, then we at least got to see somebody else just move forward, and then maybe he fights Marlon, get that rematch.
Yeah, maybe. He was calling for it.
My bad.
He was calling for it after the fight, but
Yeah.
Marlon deserves that title shot, though.
For sure.
For sure. That would be
He's
a
put on
good fight, too.
He's put on a streak, man. I hate that. I really do. That it's okay to do these fucking champ fights when they make sense, but if you have a legitimate #1 contender, the champ fight does not make any sense.
You're right.
It just doesn't.
I agree. Well, let's circle back to the main event. Those were some of our favorite fights on the card. I mean, we could talk about every fight on the card. They were all really,
It's
really
not much
good.
to talk about with the main event. It was
But I mean, what do you think is next here? We talked about Ngannou, what we might want to see next for him. You maybe think a title shot with
I think
DC.
Cain's done.
Yeah, what's next for Cain? I think he's done too. I think he needs to be done. I think you need to retire.
If
sir.
he did, in fact, hurt his knee, then he's done. Why would you continue? He's got a new baby. He's got a wife at home. He's still making money through his camp, and he makes money outside the UFC. Why waste your time, and why hurt your body any worse than you already have? This doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't
There's
think it does
definitely
either.
guys that he could probably beat in the top 10, top 5, just because the heavyweight division is a coin flip,
Maybe.
90% of fights, and that's all fine. But I don't think he's championship level anymore. I'm sorry, like that's just a fact.
No, everybody was hoping we were going to see the old Cain, and instead we
Yeah.
just got
Like,
old Cain.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, that was rough. Old kid. Yeah,
I mean, his.
definitely though. That's exactly
It's
what
a
happened.
bummer for fans of his.
Yeah.
You can't deny his accomplishments. I mean, 2-time heavyweight champ. I personally don't think
And
he's the
nobody
greatest.
is though. That's the thing. Nobody is denying what he's done for the sport. It's
No,
just that
no.
it's passed him up. Unfortunately, that
I think
happens.
it has. That happens when you miss a lot of fights.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
you missed a lot of fights.
Everything changes when you don't fight for nearly 900 days. Come on, dude.
And your fight before that was against a guy who
There's completely new contenders. There's completely new this.
pretty
There's
whack.
there's different, like, the heavyweight division kind of goes through this whole, like, cycle. Like, first, like, it was like, we're doomed because no one could really handle the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
And
his
then-
jiu-jitsu and size, and yeah.
Yeah, then we're doomed couldn't handle the striking from Stipe, so then
Stipe's
striking
athleticism, yeah.
like, took over the division. And now, like, with the wrestling aspect and striking is what you need to be a heavyweight champion right now. You need to be able to wrestle. You need to be able to throw hands to be the heavyweight champion in the UFC right now. 100%. You cannot be just a great striker. That's why I think fucking Francis could beat anybody, but at the same time, if he can't land, he can't win. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if he should get I don't know anything about his trainer. Like, they were interviewing him in the event last night, and like, never seen that guy before. Like, I don't, and I'm
he's
not
been with
knocking
them
him.
forever.
I'm not saying anything
I don't
bad
know.
about him. I'm just saying.
But he also trains
do you
with the
think?
PI too.
Yeah. Do you think it's time for him to maybe not leave his camp, but incorporate some other
Well, he doesn't have a camp. That's
more
the thing. He
experienced
doesn't have a
things
camp
around him?
It's just him
Yeah,
and his
that's what I
trainer
mean. He
living.
needs to, like, is it time to,
Maybe.
go ahead and expand a little bit? You don't have to leave anybody behind, but maybe expand yourself a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
He trains out here, though.
Yeah,
He
he's
lives
here at the
out here.
PI a lot. Yeah, he moved out here to be near the PI, which
Yeah.
is
So you got to think he's got other people in his ear other than his striking coach.
Well, he's definitely back. But let's circle to Cain. I want to ask you, what do you think is, if let's say Cain retires, which please, he probably will, maybe.
Then
is he the greatest of all time?
No.
In the heavyweight division? Not in the UFC.
Fabricio Werdum is.
Currently, you think it's Werdum?
Yeah.
I think that when you look at resumes, it's hard to argue against that.
Werdum beat Fedor, Cain, and he's beat everyone.
People like to put Stipe Miocic in there, but I think it's far too early in his career. Werdum's at the end of his career, let's be honest. He's 42, 3, whatever. He's suspended. He's gone. Stipe's still an active fighter.
Either,
like we can't include Stipe
Is he,
Miocic.
though?
Stipe?
Yeah, because he's not been too active lately.
Oh, because 6 months.
6 months, my ass. It's been over a year.
Let's not shit on Stipe at the moment.
At the moment.
I like Stipe. I don't understand the shitting on the guy. But let's just say, I'm saying it for the sake of this conversation, he's not the GOAT just because of those title defenses, because he's still fighting. Like, he's still, despite the fact he's waiting, he's holding out for a title shot. He's obviously still an active fighter, whereas Werdum is on suspension, much older.
Let me throw you a curveball here.
Done.
Let me throw you a curveball. Or is Daniel Cormier the heavyweight GOAT?
No, you can't say that. He's still fighting.
Yeah, but based on his... We're talking... Yeah, but bullshit. John Jones is still fighting. John Jones isn't
the greatest fighter of all time yet.
Bullshit. Stop this bullshit. We're talking if
he's the greatest active fighter.
We're talking if they retired today.
I guess I draw a distinction between greatest of all time and like greatest active current fighter. I think those are two different things, because you can't reflect on a career until it's over.
Sometimes.
What if John Jones and lost 6 of his next 7 fights, got knocked out silly by Lionheart, and proceeded to go on a 6-fight losing streak and retire? Is he the greatest of all time?
Good point.
See, that's why you got to wait till it's done. And maybe at this we freeze time right here. Is he the greatest?
Cormier's career is pretty much over, though. He's got one more fight left.
He's holding out for a fight against an unranked drug cheat, right?
Well, he's talking also about possibly fighting a light heavyweight also.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's say it's over then, okay? Is he the best heavyweight of all time?
No.
He's got some fucking great wins over some really big names. He's
pretty close, but dude, well, maybe. The greatest heavyweight of all time?
And let's think about it this way. He beat Stipe. He beat Derek Lewis. Let's say he beats Brock. And let's say he gives Stipe a rematch because John Jones...
That's what he'd have to do for me.
But let's say he does that and he beats Stipe twice instead of fighting John Jones.
If he goes back, and I don't think he's... Let's remove John Jones because that's the light heavyweight. Let's talk about the heavyweight. If he can go back and seriously beat Stipe... Here, hit this bowl I just loaded. And I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be funny and talk shit. If he can beat Stipe without intentionally poking his left eyes before he fucking throws a right hand to the same area that knocks the man out. Okay, Stipe's not making this excuse, but dude, that wasn't no accidental eye poke.
Yeah, but...
And for me, that's why he deserves the rematch. It's not that mixed with the title defenses. But if he can go out and do that, okay, then all right. Because I think Stipe is currently the greatest heavyweight active.
I don't think so.
And I think that if DC were to go back and beat him, he'd probably have that claim. But he would rather fight an unranked drug cheat because, drug cheats are bad, according to DC, unless you can get them for big paydays in heavyweight title fights, and they're not named John Jones. Then it's cool like that.
Not really.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to shit on DC, but you know how I feel.
Here's the deal, though. He's got some... It's hard to say in the heavyweight division because there's, like we said before, there's really never been a dominant champion.
I mean, that's why you have to do it to heavyweight, though, because you can't call him the greatest fighter of all time.
Can't really call Cain the greatest.
3 fights ago, he just got knocked the fuck out by John Jones.
Well, here's the thing, too, is like Cain can't be the greatest heavyweight of all time because he's kind of, his injuries caused him to be out of the scene a lot.
He spent years fighting two of the same guys.
Can't really be greatest heavyweight of all time because he had a really dark, rough patch in like the middle of his career and then really turned it up when he turned around 30, 32.
Okay,
when his first stint in the UFC was rough for him, man. It was a rough time. He ends up getting cut by the UFC.
He got beat by JDS,
goes to Strikeforce and then ends up going on and beating Fedor, and that's when he hit his prime. And then from there on, he came back to the UFC, beats Mark Hunt, wins the heavyweight, or Yeah. Beats Mark Hunt, wins the heavyweight title. Then Cain comes back. He beats fucking Cain too. Ends up losing to Stipe. That's not that bad because he held that title for a good amount of time and then ends up losing when he was, 37, 38? So throughout his entire prime, he was dominant. Throughout Stipe's whole prime, he's lost. He's not dominant. He's lost.
What are you talking about? He's okay. Well, let's flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's say
No, I'm saying it not
Well,
I'm not saying he's not
Stipe
dominant
beat
at all.
Werdum.
Well, no.
Stipe
I'm not
beat
saying
Werdum.
not dominant at all. I'm not saying as dominant. Stipe in his prime
he has
already
more
lost.
heavyweight defenses in the UFC than any champ of all ever.
By one.
And then you're going to say
That's what I'm
he
saying.
had
It's just so
33%
small.
more.
It's just so small. It's so small. It's hard to fucking. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to really say who's ever going to be the greatest because no one's been dominant.
Since we're playing hypotheticals, what if he gives a rematch? What if DC gives him a rematch and Stipe beats the shit out of Daniel Cormier and then promptly retires? Is he? Now he's beat Werdum.
No,
Now he's beat fucking Cormier. Now he has 3 title defenses. That may not sound like much, but that's the most in heavyweight history.
Well, no. Here's my thing: is I just want somebody to
In the
really.
UFC.
No one stands out because no one's been extremely dominant.
Everybody's too big. I mean, the only
That's what I'm
dominant
saying,
one was
yeah.
Fedor. And Fedor was outside the
Fedor's
UFC.
outside the UFC.
And he's fighting goddamn tomato cans half the fucking time.
Yep. And
So
he's
the
got
argument
a couple
goes.
shady decisions.
And he's got some shady decisions, exactly. And he got beat by Bigfoot fucking Silva.
And he got suplexed on his head by Dan.
The great
Dan
heavyweight
Henderson.
debate. So
It's rough, man, because
It's a
at
rough
the same
one.
time, there's so many guys that you could also make a kind of a like. Think about it. In his prime, dude, Andrei Arlovski was one of the greatest heavyweights of all time as well. He was a fucking world beater. Frank Mir has a great resume as well.
he does.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other guys. Alistair Overeem has a great resume, although he's never touched gold in the UFC.
Until he got, beat by Stipe. My guy, Stipe.
He was great. Yeah, he also
He's probably out fighting fires today.
Knocked fucking Brock Lesnar into tomorrow. Remember that shit?
Yeah, that was
nice.
against, yeah.
That was nice.
That was roided out Reem, too.
Yeah, he fucked Brock Lesnar up. That's what roids hits roids. Who's got the better roids, bitch?
Good shit.
Yeah, no, it's just tough in the heavyweight division.
Well, I think, yeah.
It's just
tough.
really like in the UFC. There's never been a guy who you're just like can point out and be like, yeah, that dude's a fucking man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always been people who have been this close to beating each other in the heavyweight division, and it's honestly, name somebody in the top 10 who can't knock anybody who's the champion out.
That's
right
the
now.
thing with the big guys.
That's what I'm saying. Anybody can knock anybody out.
Well, I think that we're both agree that it's
You know
not
who's
Cain,
the greatest
though.
heavyweight of all time? Derek Lewis.
Mr. Hot Balls.
Dude, I think Derek Lewis could legitimately give Stipe some fucking problems as well. I think he could. I think he could give Stipe the hands.
The majority of our listeners come through audio. We have we're nearing in on 30,000 an episode right now here on episode number 26, and there's a very few. It's like 2,000 or so that see the video on YouTube. So not everybody's going to see the look that I just gave you when you said that. As if Stipe Miocic didn't wrestle the ever living shit out of people. Like he doesn't have wrestling.
I don't think. Actually,
Like
Derek Lewis has actually pretty good wrestling as well. You cannot deny.
Oh, my
Derek
Lord.
Lewis has good wrestling. Stipe is not.
It's finally happened. You've smoked too much weed.
No, Derek Lewis could give him works, dude. I think so. I think he can give him the works.
Oh, let me
Lewis.
stir this bowl and we should hit this. I love Derek Lewis and his hot balls, man. That dude's awesome. But
Yeah, you
wrestling
probably shouldn't say that out loud.
is not. All right, let me clarify. If some casual listeners don't know what I'm referring to, you should look up Derek Lewis's hot balls. You'll see.
It's like Chef.
All right, Chef and his salted balls. You got Derek Lewis and my balls was hot. Have you seen the shirts? Those are hilarious. This is like a silhouette of Lewis, and this is my balls was hot. It's pretty funny.
That's funny as fuck.
I think he might have been selling them. I hope he was. Shit.
He's got a big fight coming up.
No, I
as
love
well.
Derek Lewis. He's got a big fight against Junior Dos Santos. Let's shift into that fight, man, because I think that about wraps up the events.
That's
of this
another
last
motherfucker
weekend.
who's just can compete with anybody in That division,
Derek
any
Lewis?
day of the week. No, JDS.
JDS, you think he's still got it in him?
Fuck yeah, dude. He
Yeah, I'd
he
say
beat
so.
Stipe. What the fuck? And Cain.
Well, a few
Why is
years
he
ago.
not the greatest heavyweight of all time? He
'Cause
beat
he hasn't won
Cain
the title
and
back.
Stipe.
He just doesn't. He hasn't touched that gold.
He won it already though.
Well, yeah, and then he promptly
talking-
lost it, and then hasn't
talking-
seen it since.
He hasn't
Isn't
had what? He's only had one
Oh,
one
knocking him,
chance
but
since.
yeah, exactly. Why is that?
He's had some spottiness.
That's some spottiness.
But
I love JDS though. I
here's
love
the
Derek
thing,
Lewis.
man. You're talking signature wins. You can't get much better than that. He's beat Cain and motherfucking Stipe.
Yeah, but he got ragdolled by Cain in 2 of the
What? What are you talking about?
3 fights.
He never fought him again, dude.
Yeah.
He never fought him again.
Dude, how bad? How fucking? What a weird footnote for Cain, by the way.
What?
Well, I mean, the very first Fox event,
Oh, he gets KO'd.
he gets KO'd in like what 58 seconds by Junior Dos Santos.
The first ESPN.
And then now, when they shift to the next platform, they feature Cain in the main event on
Gets
an even bigger
knocked
thing,
out by,
and he gets knocked out even quicker.
by Francis.
What a weird footnote to your career. But I mean, that's just fucking weird. Like, it's one of those weird fucking things. They're just like, damn, that sucks. On the 2 biggest platforms, you just got.
You know, one thing we didn't say that I want to put out there.
What's that?
Francis handled this win very,
Oh, classy.
very classy.
Yeah, class act, man. That dude's cool.
Yeah.
You gotta like that dude. He's a good story. He's real classy
Fuck
after the
yeah.
fight.
Super classy.
He's getting booed, and he just
He's getting booed. He's like, "Yeah,
composure.
thanks, guys. It's all good.
Yeah,
I
that was
understand
cool.
why you're booing me, but it's all good. I like him. He's a good fighter."
Yeah, we got Junior Dos Santos versus Derek Lewis coming up. I don't even know who I like in that fight. It all depends on Derek Lewis's health, honestly, for me. If Derek Lewis is healthy and his back's not jacked up, and Derek Lewis is training maybe for, say, 2 hours a day instead of his purported 1 hour a day training regimen,
Dude,
then
I don't know. He took
I
that
like him.
championship camp
Ooh,
pretty
look at that hash
seriously.
burn,
So
man.
if that's
yeah, I'm just joking.
no, I understand. I'm just saying if he's trained as hard as he did for that champ camp, dude,
Yeah.
he could really put together a serious run at the end of his career here.
Did you see him hitting 140 in that Lamborghini? He apparently went and got himself after that championship fight. Yeah, he was on Instagram hitting 140 miles an hour in a Lambo.
Jesus,
It's just this weekend of the fights.
who knows?
Fucking crazy.
Fucking Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis. I hope he wins, actually. I like Junior Dos Santos.
I just think his time's up.
Me too. I think it's time for Derek Lewis to get a big, fat KO.
And a
That'd
big
be-
fat check.
yeah. And tell us
go
some
with
more
it.
funny shit.
Yeah, please.
Please, sir. Let's
More
get you back on the
funny
scene. That would
Yeah.
be great.
For real.
It'd be good for the heavyweight division, too. Get him back up in the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Who doesn't like Derek Lewis?
Nobody.
Haters.
Haters.
Assholes.
Haters.
Well, shit, man. There's lots of good shit coming up, too. But I think it's probably about that time for our Fighters Who Smoke segment.
All right.
Now, this week, going a little bit different, stepping outside of the MMA world and actually stepping outside of the mixed martial arts world, too, and even outside of active fighters. Talking about a boxer, a former heavyweight champ named Chris Bird. Now, Chris Bird, I actually saw him fight when I was younger in person when he was pro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's
been
pretty
retired a while now, but yeah, back in my boxing days, I got to go to a few events. Like our gym would sometimes go up to Denver and go to some of the bigger events, as a group.
Yeah.
And we got to see Chris Bird fight. I can't remember who he fought though, but it
good.
was one of his very, very first pro fights because he was still at middleweight. There's a crazy thing about that dude, about this guy is he went from middleweight, which is 169 in boxing, up to fight at heavyweight. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like he did it in like 3 fights. like he made the jump right up. But let me give you a little bit of history on it for everybody, since he's not an active fighter now, and if you're not into boxing, you might have, maybe the name might sound familiar. But currently, he is an active marijuana user for all sorts of different health reasons, and he was introduced to marijuana by Shannon Briggs, former heavyweight champ as well. Let's go, champ! Look at Shannon Briggs is the shit. But a little history on Chris Bird. I mean, he started boxing when he was 5, and he was actually competing by the age 10. So dude had over 300 fucking amateur boxing fights, dude.
Jesus.
300 fights, and he won 275 of those amateur fights. He was a 3-time U.S. amateur champ. He was a silver medalist in the 92 Olympics. And that was a famed squad because they held their own against the Cuban team, which was like this really fucking big deal back then.
Yeah.
And then he turned pro by 1993. And he's 6 feet tall, right? He's 6 feet tall and 1/2 inch, and he was fighting at 169 pounds. And by 1994, he was fighting at 207. And he never had a fight over 218 pounds. Now, if you're paying attention to boxing today, that might not sound that crazy because we're seeing Wilder right now fight at around 218, and we just saw him fight Fury at 240, and we were pretty. That's a shocking thing, and it was even more shocking back in fucking 1994.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But he won the. He was never over 218 pounds in a fight, and he was really, really defensive minded because he was a small fucking guy. He's 6 feet tall, and he's a blown up middleweight.
Yeah.
And so he had to be super defensive, and that was sometimes a knock on him because he wasn't a puncher. Like he's not going to come out and knock you out, and he'll tell you that. He'll tell you that to this day. So he had to go out and use a lot of defense. Like he would spin people around and do all kinds. Like he won a title off of Evander Holyfield. He was spinning him around in the cage and shit, or a cage. I guess they're used to talking, MMA, but in the ring. But first, he won the WBO title in April of 2000. On a 10-day notice, he beat Vitaly Klitschko. Dang. And it was Klitschko at the time weighed like 245 pounds or so, and Bird would have been in there around 210. And there was a little controversy in that fight because Klitschko hurt his shoulder, and he couldn't carry on. But I mean, he won the fight. Bird won the fight, and it was a good fight. He was a much smaller man. And then in the very next fight after that, he fought his brother, Klitschko's brother, Vladimir, and lost to him. Yeah, and then, of course, Vladimir held on to that title for a long time. Yeah. But after he lost to Klitschko's brother, he went on a decent win streak. Lennox Lewis actually gave up his IBF title instead of having to face Chris Bird, which was very interesting. And then in December of 2002, he beat Holyfield for that IBF title. He went on to defend it 4 times, and then he lost in 2006 to Klitschko again. So Klitschko held on to that title, as we all know, for so fucking long. So he lost it. He went out and he won another title, defended it, and then, went into that unification bout. Unfortunately, lost that one again, and then he proceeded to go 2-2 in his next 2 fights. Won his last fight and retired. I think it was back in, I want to say 2009. He retired. Yeah. All right, but he's had a lot of problems since then. He took a lot of damage. He was a smaller guy for the weight division, obviously, and he got hit. He was defensive minded, but he got hit a lot, and getting hit fucked him up. Yeah. And he came out here with a story. I think it was in 2017 or actually it was 2018. He talked about how marijuana was really helping him. It's helped him get off prescription pills. He's been diagnosed with PTSD. He had to go through like 9 years of psychoanalysis. Jeez. And it's due to trauma from fighting. It's not because he's crazy. It's because his brain got all fucking fucked up. Yeah. He's got problems in his feet, where he said at points in his life before Shannon Briggs had introduced him to weed, that like his feet hurt him so bad that he was like, he would have cut them off. Like he was seriously considering like chopping off his fucking own feet. Like, I mean, think of how crazy that is, man. Yeah. And he went through a lot of fucking problems with the prescription pills. Doctors kept giving him shit. And finally, later, Briggs, who's a marijuana smoker as well, obviously, introduces him to weed. And since then, he's been able to really cut back and get off the prescription pills. He's come out publicly talking about how marijuana has helped him so much. Not only deal with the pain, but helped him in his brain. And he literally, right now, he's the kind of guy who he's staying high all day, every day. Like, he gets up and he fucking smokes. And he smokes all day long until he goes to sleep. Well, that's good. But he said that, it's helping him. He felt that the prescription drugs were, like, literally making him crazy. Yeah. Like, he said he almost, like, attacked his daughter. Like, he had an incident in public. like I think it was in 2017 in downtown Los Angeles where he was just acting really erratic and crazy, and it was because all these fucking pills. Like,
Yeah.
when doctors are pumping all this shit,
yeah, they don't really know exactly what it's doing to the rest of your body. You know?
right?
Like,
Especially these guys that have taken all these hits.
that's why there's so many side effects to all these different like pills and shit like that. That's why it's great that he's found.
Yeah. And here's a quote, what Bird said, because he had never done any alcohol or done any drugs in his fucking life. Like, he was like a straight edge dude, like a lot of high level athletes can be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he said, Shannon Briggs gave me the marijuana, and that's a wrap. He said, I never believed in any of that stuff before. I never smoked or drank a day in my life. But once he gave me that medicine, I felt as steady as a plant. There ain't nothing better. It really helps. He says, I'm legally disabled now because of boxing. I'm in tons of pain as I'm speaking to you. My feet are on fire. But marijuana at least calms it all down to a point where I can function. Otherwise, I just go crazy. Now I smoke all day, every day, and it's giving him his life back.
Damn.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stories that need to get out there for people. You know, like Joe Rogan on his podcast here in the past week or so had the marijuana debate.
Yeah.
Which we both were checking it out. I'm pretty sure I had to give up on it because I started getting frustrated with the anti-weed guy. Because when you sit here and you try to say things like that aren't medicine, really, go tell Chris Bird that ain't fucking medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's some fucking hooplehead motherfucker, in my opinion. This fucking guy, I can't even remember his name on that show, but he writes this book, and he's a novelist who writes a book about weed. And then he comes out and his whole thing is it's not medicine. And he's... Have you ever been in a situation where you've needed it and used it as medicine? Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
The people that we need to listen to, if it's medicine or not, are people that are using it as such. If you don't want to believe a recreational smoker who's trying to sell you some bullshit story, I get that.
Yeah.
But you can't deny all the millions and millions of sick people across this country, the millions and millions of people across the world that cannabis helps.
Yeah.
And not just sick people like Bird. I don't mean he's sick, but I mean active fighters who also smoke. Like, that's what the segment is, fighters who smoke. And why do they tell you they're smoking? Because it helps with my pain. Mm-hmm. Why was Nate Diaz hitting that fucking vape pen so famously after that fucking fight when Ariel was harassing him? Why?
It's helping the pain.
Exactly. Not because he's trying to get fucked up and party at the fucking press conference, because it's medicine.
And it wasn't even THC, it was CBD.
And that was CBD, exactly. Exactly. So that wraps up our fighters who smoked this week. Shout out to Chris Bird.
Yeah,
Glad
shout out to Chris Bird.
He's a fucking hell of a dude. There's a hell of a fucking lot of shit to go through.
Hell of a story.
And yeah, dude, when you have that many fights, I mean, we're not just talking about his professional fights
so
where,
many.
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
he had around 50 fucking pro fights. When you have 300 amateur fights, I mean, yeah, you're wearing headgear.
50 fights, man, that's a lot.
You might be wearing headgear, but since age 10, you're fucking taking shots to the dome.
Yeah.
Now, maybe at age 10, they don't mean much when you're in headgear and it's another 10-year-old in a giant padded fucking glove.
Yeah.
But the repetition over and over and over and over, you can't tell me that doesn't do something to you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad weed's helping him. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
I think that about wraps up the show.
Yeah.
My friend, we always like to close on the fighters who smoke. It's been a good episode. I'm looking forward to next week's fights.
Yeah,
looking
definitely.
forward to, after that, we got John Jones coming up too on March 2nd. Lots of good things.
Yep.
We definitely want to thank our Weed of the Week sponsor once again, which is OMG THC and Experience Premium Cannabis. You can go to EPC Las Vegas to learn about Experience Premium Cannabis, and just Google OMG THC or go to Instagram and search for them.
Or look up on Weed Maps.
Yes, Weed Maps, of course, always has that good info as well.
Yep.
And thanks to everybody tuning in. Of course, you can find our show on all the usual podcast outlets, iTunes, Google Play, etc. At Thursday nights, we are on WBUZ 95, which you can find on radio.net or the Orange Radio app in the Play Store. We air at 8 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. out here in Vegas, 9 p.m. on the West Coast. East Coast, yeah, that's right. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. West Coast.
I'm high.
Right? We smoked a lot of good weed this episode. That hash has been pretty awesome, dude. I love old school hash.
Hit us up on YouTube, like, subscribe. Leave a comment down there.
You can find all kinds of info about us at SWATMMA.com, including some shirts just like the one I'm wearing right here, as well as a few others we've got coming out. If you like our show, you want to throw us a little support, we appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Peace.
Later.